The Women of Ill Repute, with your hosts, Wendy Mesley and Maureen Holloway.
Well, our guest today is the most famous Nicaraguan Canadian LGBTQ plus stand-up comedian in the world.
So I bet there's only one.
There
No
is.
one's going to argue with that. So I think it would be. She's there, but we're not going to talk to her for just a second. Martha Chavez. She's a trailblazer. She's a barrier breaker. She was obviously born in Nicaragua, but she became an adult in Montreal. That's a long story. She found her comedic voice there. So now she does stand-up, corporate events. She appears on The Debaters, whole bunch of shows.
I love her on The Debaters. Martha's also acted in several one-woman shows, and she's put out a comedy album called Chunky Salsa. Bottom line is Martha is successfully funny, but she says that her humor comes from the things that make her mad. And I totally get that.
Yeah, I get it. Comedy is the best revenge.
Oh, it is. And it's safer than murder. You don't go to jail for telling bad jokes, although some people should.
Unless you get caught. So, yeah, here to talk about language, racism, heroism, mentorship, and alternative uses of preparation H is Martha Chavez.
Martha, hi. What? Oh, so you do put it under? You put it under your eyes?
You just put a little bit. Because God forbid it goes into your eyeball, and then the bags under your eyes go away. Yeah.
So I used it, but I sort of have satchels now. I don't know. I no longer have bags, but I don't think it actually did it. It's supposed to shrink things though, right? Isn't it?
It's supposed to shrink hemorrhoids. I mean, let's be blunt.
Yeah, it's for the hemorrhoids. And then, but I don't know who I heard that. Probably I heard it from my mom, who was, she was an expert on skincare. And, she even made her own skincare, her own skin cream, my mother. She made it from, this is gonna sound gross, chicken skin.
Chicken skin?
But it was a huge, like a cauldron, a huge process, and then it would be aromatized by rose petals. But I put it once, and it gave me a lot of a reaction, like pimples. But she had up to the moment she passed, she had beautiful skin.
Really?
You relied on the preparation H, but I wonder, like, who discovered
Who found that out? Yeah, who found that out?
Who found that? I know.
How close did you have to be? It must have been a customs officer who found that out. Oh, there is no cocaine in there, but somehow I feel rejuvenated. Go tell everybody. Now I'm doing shtick in your show.
Well, that's what by all means.
Jokes, yeah.
By all means, it makes you think of all the things you could be making. Like, nobody makes their own shoes. Have you noticed?
No.
People make their own clothes, but they don't make their own shoes.
No, I would like to have that gift, making my own clothes. I like transforming clothes. Like, I am now into the transfers, the heat transfer on t-shirts.
Yeah.
And I also like to paint T-shirts and stuff, but I have no time and I have no space. My wife
good that you have no time. So it's great. It's so lovely to see you in person. I feel like I know you. Like we kind of.
I feel like I know you too. Yeah, because you got me right waking up, and I'm so sorry that I forgot the interview was today. I came back late from a show last night. And I don't go to sleep right away, of course, because I'm looking at the empire. What happened? What is going on in Crazy Town in the United States? And then I fall asleep like at 4:00 in the morning and wake up late. But I like to wake up early.
Sure, you do.
Yeah, I do. I do. Because it's so. Whenever I have an appointment in the morning, do you ladies work at night or in the day?
We work during the day, although we're called Women of Ill Repute. We probably should be working at night, but no, but Martha, for years, I used to get up. I used to do a morning show on radio, and I would get up at 3:30 in the morning.
Wow.
And I did that for on and off for almost 40 years, and so Wendy and I were just talking about how we actually what is it when we get up at 9?
8 or 9.
8 or
yeah,
9? Yeah.
And it's all, I don't know how I managed, like doing a podcast and writing for Substack. It's like a job, but it's a mini job compared to a real job.
Well,
Yeah.
You're still pumping it out. And I like, obviously I knew you were Nicaraguan, Martha, but I didn't know your whole.
Sorry, the light that makes me beautiful is falling down. just a second.
So I don't want to name the person, but we did an interview with somebody who put a filter on and got rid of all the gray hair. So do you think I could do that? Like, could I walk around with a light in front of me all the time?
No.
Yeah.
You know what? Just you're beautiful just the way you are. You don't need a
Exactly,
filter.
you're beautiful just the way you are. Just a second. Well, it's gonna collapse because I Nicaraguan it. I'm gonna show you what I did.
Oh yeah, you've got a halo.
I
Oh,
Nic-
you've got it. You've
It's
got
a
it with
fishing
tape.
line.
But
I
it's taped.
Nicaraguan
Yeah.
it because I say, Linda, my wife says, let's Nicaraguan it because I tell her that in Nicaragua we don't throw things, we just repair them when
You
they.
just-
I mean, I don't even know. I haven't been in Nicaragua since the 80s when I first left, and then the 2005 was the last time because my family lives in Guatemala.
Yeah.
So,
well, they didn't.
but I know that they don't. But I remember that things will get broken, and then you will fix them. You're
Well,
not
duct
buying.
tape fixes everything.
It fixes
I
everything.
find. So,
Yeah.
there we.
Okay.
There we go.
So
Let's-
I'm
let's
not
see if
sure
we
that
can
this is
fix it.
going to work, Martha. But
Why?
No, just
Yeah, it's going to work. No, I mean it's not going to work for the podcast.
it's working. We are actually,
This
we're
whole
doing
thing,
the podcast is happening as we speak.
as we
So
speak,
you moved to Montreal. Your
But I
parents
mean,
sent
there
you
are
to.
people like that are more organized doing repairs. I just like to do it
Yeah,
like
no,
that.
you look great.
But yes, I have a halo because I bought it when the pandemic, because we used to have a lot of shows on Zoom. Like, do you even remember the pandemic? Like how hard it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
also that we came back. We all came back broken.
You
I
think
think-
so?
Yeah,
I had a good pandemic. I'm an introvert, and I quite liked not being able to go anywhere.
yeah, me too. In a way, I am a homebody, but I miss performing. That's what I
Of
miss.
course. Of
Yeah,
course.
I miss smiles. I was going around Toronto with a stick in case I run into a raccoon to poke it so you will show the teeth. Like it's not really a smile, but beggars can't be choosers. Like it was, and also I was in the pandemic. I was also worried. What if we are never going to be able to go go visit my family in Guatemala?
Yeah,
Like,
so who's
that was-
left? So you were in Nicaragua, and then your family they went to it became refugees in Guatemala, and you got sent to Concordia. And
yeah,
then,
I was sent here right at the like when all the conflict was happening, and then my parents had to leave because they had worked for the former government, and somebody told them, if you don't leave, they're gonna come and kill you. So they left, and they went to Guatemala, and I was already here with a student visa. But when I went in limbo, because I couldn't go back to Nicaragua because my parents were allegedly thrown out. And then I couldn't go to Guatemala because I had no papers.
wow.
So my father, who was a lawyer, he told me, why don't you investigate about political refugee status? Because of them, not because of my political. I was 17, and I was babysitting for this Jewish lawyer in Montreal, and he sent me to another lawyer to help me to apply. That was the
Wow.
story. But my family never came here. I didn't want them to. I
So
would.
now you're in Toronto. So you left
Yep.
Montreal. So you discovered you were funny in Montreal.
Yeah, yeah. I always say, I like to quote myself. I always say that I've been doing stand-up comedy for 30 years, and I still go on the road to little towns because I like the challenge. But sometimes it doesn't go well, and in those times I say, 30 years in this, 30 years. If I had killed the person who suggested that I should be doing comedy. 30 years ago, I would be on parole, but now I am in Alberta. So it's a, how do you say, a sentence?
It
It's
is a
a,
sentence,
it's a sentence.
but you love it. You love it.
I now I teach it now. I am teaching at Humber, and I am teaching at Metropolitan University older students, 55 plus, and the students of the Humber College Comedy Writing and Performance program. Yeah.
So this is in teaching comedy. I mean, I actually, went to grad school and wrote my thesis on women in comedy. So,
Wow.
yeah, nothing sucks the humor out of something than
Than writing
actually
a paper.
approaching it academically. But I
Than
loved it.
dissecting it. Yeah.
But teaching people how to be funny. That's not what I was doing. But can you teach people? I mean, don't you have to have some sort of natural gift
Yeah.
to be funny?
Yeah. It's like, I always think about, like, I love to dance. I love to dance. I am a very bad dancer. I'm a very bad Latina that way. But I love to dance, but it doesn't occur to me, you know what? I'm going to apply to the ballet school because I'm going to be dancing with the Bolshoi ballet. No, you have to have you have to have a realistic perception of your abilities. There are some people that are naturally funny and they just need technique, because there is a technique and there is a
So what's
way
the technique? What's the tip? What's the secret?
Yeah, please tell Wendy.
Wendy, well,
I want to be funny, so please tell me.
but you're funny.
Yeah.
Like,
Wen-
I mean-
Wendy is funny, but I
Not
don't
on
think
purpose.
not. And she smells funny too, which is really fun. But no, it was what are I know that words that start with K are funnier.
Yeah, chicken
Odd
is
numbers are
funny.
funnier than even numbers. It's just
No,
what
there
are-
are a lot of things that, like, for example, the surprise. If people are not surprised, they don't laugh in a stand-up comedy setting. But even in movies, it's the same kind of formula. Like, one laugh when you are very surprised at something, when the line went like this and then all of a sudden took a turn. So there is a technique with that. There is a technique of delivery, of I emphasizing knowing, making the kids and the older folks who are good. Like, I had them doing shows. I rented the comedy bar at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, and I have my older folks doing proper at a comedy bar, at a comedy scene, not only at the school. And it was a huge success because it was like a matinee, and we called it the Golden Giggles and everything. But yeah, I always say you have to, and it is the most difficult part, I think, for a performer, a writer, or a comedian, is to know what is inside. To know what is it that you want to say with this? What is it that you want the audience to think when you're fooling them, so you can pull the rug under their feet? So there are a lot of exercises with that. And we do them. But of course, the kids will do whatever they want. But at the end of the season, they have to give a presentation, and we work very hard for that. Yeah, and there are some that will go far. There are some that won't,
it's
because
true of
it's a-
anything though.
it's really that and it's a commitment. It's not that you will just show up and just, like, talk about ass eating. There is an epidemic. There is an epidemic of ass eating in the comedy stages.
Is there?
Yeah.
Like,
That's-
can you imagine? Like, I am so happy that I am long in the tooth, that I avoided that stage. Ass eating.
But apparently you didn't, Martha, because you're talking about it now.
No, I know, but I mean, like, I told them, listen, first of all, when I see you on stage, I don't believe you. Second of all, it is gross. Third of all, like, and most importantly, I think, is you have to be original. Find things to say that the other people are not saying.
So I've always thought that comedians, and this is such a cliche, that that they had difficult childhoods. Are there like any happy comedians? Because Maureen says that it's all about
Grievance.
Yeah, it's about
Grievance. Well, actually,
being
I didn't.
mad.
I didn't say that. I think it was Marshall McLuhan who said that every joke has a grievance behind it, right? And Martha, actually, that's true. You have said that your comedy comes from things that make you mad.
Yeah, or not only mad, wait a second, menopause. I have to put the fan.
So first the tape and now the fan.
And yeah,
But we'll be organized.
no, but
next
it makes you look very windblown and beautiful.
Women of ill repute and ill preparation for a podcast. well, no, I think that everything comes from, for example, when I started, I really didn't know. I took a course in Montreal with Andy Nullman, who was the CEO of Just for Laugh. But I just wanted to learn to be funny in a context of I wanted to be a tour guide. And then to just say funny things when I'm with the people. I was terrified because every book that I have read about stand-up comedy terrifies you of the stage and hecklers. And in those days, I didn't speak as well as now that I sound as a Sir Laurence Olivier. And
exactly.
and then for me, there were a lot of things that I had to concentrate. First, watch a lot of stand-up comedy to learn the rhythm. There is a rhythm, and you develop your own rhythm as you progress. I have my rhythm, and then sometimes I wonder, are people get inside that rhythm, kind of like they expected. But then when I started, everything was about the way they see me. The way they see me, I couldn't escape the ethnicity and the accent. So I had to refer to it. Especially 30 years ago in Montreal, I was an allophone in the sense that I was not English or French.
Yeah, you learned how to speak English in Quebec.
Yeah, in Quebec.
That explains a few things.
Yeah, and French. And French.
Well, the French part I get, but the English part.
I learned how to speak English in Quebec. Sometimes I wonder if my cadence when I speak is not influenced by the cadence of French Canadian.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
But that's it. So I had to deal with the accent, with the ethnicity. I didn't talk about the lesbianism at the time because it was too much. It was like, I mean, it was too much. And I think I was not comfortable in my skin.
Well, didn't you say somewhere that that your mom sent you to Concordia to cure you of lesbianism?
Did they have a course in that?
Yeah, my mom sent me. They decided to ship me off to out of Nicaragua because my mother found out by reading my private conversations that I was getting involved with this woman. And then she thought that it was just a phase. And in order for me to stop having those feelings, I would have to be dispatched, separated from the person. But then they sent me to Montreal.
Montreal!
The most beautiful women in the world in Montreal. And gay culture.
Yeah.
But you come, even though with all of that, even though if I always knew I am what they call a gold star lesbian, because I never went out with guys. And even if I always knew, I remember with my first girlfriends in Montreal, we would go I mean, for me, it was like a revelation to go to a gay bar, there are people holding hands. Like that was so subversive that you would hold hands in public, in public, not really in public, but with other people around.
Yeah.
And, but I remember that my girlfriend and I, we were both what they call lipstick lesbians. And we will see butch lesbians and we will go, we are not like that. And there is a self-internalized homophobia. I got cured of it like in a year, but at the beginning that was it. And
there's none left anywhere in the world now.
Pardon?
There's no homophobia or sexism or race.
She's being sarcastic.
No, it's cured. It's cured.
Yeah, it's gone. We did it.
We did it. If you read the comments about gay pride on Facebook, you know how much they love us.
Yeah.
They love us.
Everybody.
So, but I wasn't afraid because of of coming out on stage because I thought that the audience would hate me. I was afraid of my mother. That's what I was afraid. Finally, when my mom passed away, and I hate to say it, in 2007, I started coming out, not consciously, but and then all of a sudden, everything was like, I talk about a lot of things, and I happen to be a lesbian when I talk about those things, but I don't emphasize only on that part, because I think that we are human, right? First. So I talk about a lot of things. I was never in the closet in the sense that I will be talking about my boyfriend or anything like that, like sex with men. I never, you know what I mean? It was not that kind of closet. Some people have asked me though, how come you didn't come out before? Everybody comes out as they can.
Yeah, well, when they want to. So,
Yeah.
or they
Well-
choose not to, or whatever. But are you Latinx? Are you Latina? Are you Hispanic? Like, what is I'm sorry to.
All three?
I feel like these are all cliched questions.
No, it's not cliche. I even wrote an article for the CBC about Latinx. The thing is that because in Spanish everything is gendered, a lot of like la mesa, el carro, plus the car and the table. La mesa is feminine, the table is feminine, del carro is masculine. The door, la puerta is feminine. The
like French.
house,
I like French.
so a lot of people came up with instead of putting Latino or Latina, to put Latinx. So it's genderless. It's been I think it's a good idea, because that implies that we are like the X-Men. We have superpowers, but it takes a while to get used to. But because they call us Latino. For example, Brazilians are Latin too, and they don't speak Spanish. Hispanic is all Latin America and Spain, but not Brazil, because they don't speak Spanish. So it's confusing.
It is confusing.
is
I
very
thought they
confusing.
were. I thought if you were Brazilian just because you spoke Portuguese. In fact, I thought Portuguese people were part of Latinx. Now I find out that
No,
they're not.
they
they
are
are.
Latinx. What they are not is Hispanic.
Right. Okay.
So Hispanic
crystal.
the Hispanic doesn't define all of South America or Latin America. But we don't come from Latinia.
No.
So I don't know why they call us Latin. I guess because the language is
But
Latin.
French is Latin based, and French people aren't considered Latin. So
No, it's compliqué.
yeah, c'est très compliqué.
Compliqué, yeah. It's
Martha,
complicated.
you wrote an article on mentorship not long ago. I know that it's been very important to you to have a mentor, or I guess now be a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you teach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is important. It's become so important to me that I go every Tuesday. I go to see the kids, even we are on vacation, but on Tuesdays at Yak Yaks, they practice, the Humber kids, they practice. So I go every Tuesday to see how they are progressing, to give tips. And in comedy is I think the only art or craft, if you want to call it that way, that people believe that way. Let's say if you start playing the guitar, if you go ring, 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 you don't think you're ready to go play with the Rolling Stones. Whereas in stand-up comedy, you can do 5 minutes and they all feel that they are ready to go play at Massey Hall.
Yeah.
So I like to mentor and guide, but I don't like to criticize. Because I was criticized a lot, and sometimes you take it bad, and it doesn't, the communication doesn't, it's not positive. I like to be positive. I like them to emphasize on their strengths. Like if I have a student that is very gifted with voices, I would say, put on that joke, put a voice, put an imitation. If I have a student that is very gifted at writing, which I do have sometimes, I say, well, that's very nice. Find something that is really from your heart to write. It's important for me, mentorship, because I was in the wild. I didn't have role models because there were no, I was the only ethnic comedian on the Yak Yaks roster up to maybe 2007. Ethnic in the sense of Latin. There were black comedians, but no, and there were Trinidadians maybe, but not Latin, and now there is a lot of them. And not precisely Latinx, but I mean, people from Bosnia Herzegovina, people from Nigeria, people with accents.
Yep.
Before it was only me and the maybe two French Canadians.
So you did it. What made you so positive? I mean, you said that there was lots of shit around. Obviously, as you were coming up, you were exposed to, and it's, as we were joking earlier, or I was, that it's still around. But you're positive. What makes you so positive?
Well, you know what? Like I have come to realize in my old age that I was exposed to a lot of racism, sexism, homophobia, but I blinded it because I toured with guys for 20 years, maybe, with white heterosexual cis men, and I heard a lot of things. I heard, oh, you're only funny because of the accent, and then I took notes. Oh, I'm only funny. It would make me down. Oh, people think I'm stupid, that I'm only funny, that they are laughing at me, not with me. But then I realized, well, I could be using this to my advantage. They gave me, or they will go, oh, you're only, they just laugh with you because you're new, you're a novelty, you're a flash in the pan. And I heard a lot of things, especially if ever I did better than them, and I would be coming back in the car with them, I would hear a lot. Like if I did, like I would hear a lot that, oh yeah, like putting me down, but I didn't want to listen. There was something in my head that protected me from that. I just, it's like the horses that they go in that direction. Yeah. I just wanted to become a good comic, like what I thought a good comic was, which was, talk from your heart and communicate with all sorts of people. I don't look down in audiences. I feel it's a dare. If they tell me it's a horrible bar, nobody does well in that bar. For me, it's like, I'm going to try to communicate with these people. And it's always nice when I go places in which I'm not in Toronto, which is multicultural and very open to LGBTQ, to SIA plus pi. And then you see that the acronym is growing. We even have plus because we are open to suggestions. And then when I go places, I just, like I say, I'm a person. If I see a guy in the crowd that was, and I finally see him laughing, oh boy, that's the best for me because we finally made a connection. Yeah. I believe that every form, I read it somewhere, I guess, every form of communication is a form of translation. So I believe that we translate ourselves on stage for the people to understand us. Yeah.
Well, you have quite the drive to do that, and I'm just trying to imagine somebody who said to you, "Well, you're only funny because of your accent." Well, yeah. Well, you try it. You try it with an accent. You try being funny. It doesn't make it easier. It makes it harder in some ways. So
it makes it hard. I think my comedy has improved a lot since I am with Linda, my wife, because she's an Anglophone white woman, and so there were things that maybe I took longer to explain, but with her it's like sometimes she writes jokes for me.
So it must be fun at the dinner table.
Yeah. So sometimes she because I have a joke that I say that everybody, like I was telling you, that from after the pandemic, everybody has a condition. Everybody has something mental. And my joke was, if you don't have it, it's because you haven't been diagnosed. And Linda goes, but ask your friends.
Yeah.
And that was that took it to another. It's always nice to bounce things up with people. And her father was a writer and a humor. He loved humor, so I think it came to her. Of course, it's not easy to go on stage, right?
Oh,
It's not the hardest part. Like some comics like to romanticize the whole thing. Oh, it's the hardest job. No, you're not operating on a brain, but it's not as easy as some people believe. It's like cutting hair, right?
yeah.
Everybody knows how to operate a scissor, and everybody could do that to your hair, but they wouldn't do a good job. It's like some people think that it's just you go and talk whatever. No,
Was
you
it?
have to in a limited set of minutes. You have to convey the more ideas and the more laughter that you can.
Who is
Yeah.
it that said dying is hard, but comedy is harder? I think it was Woody Allen. We're not supposed to quote him anymore.
Dying is easy, comedy is hard. I
Yeah.
think it was Mel Brooks.
Okay, let's say Mel Brooks,
Probably Mel Brooks.
who is
I
still
know.
with us, at least
He's
as of
still-
press time.
So is
that is
Woody.
my hope, because a lot of comedy people die older,
Yeah.
and they don't put you out to pasture in a showbiz thing as they do when you're
No,
an
you're
actor.
right. You're right. Don Rickles, George Burns, Mel
Yeah.
Brooks. Yeah.
Joan Rivers. At
Yeah.
72, she was still throwing herself and
So
doing.
there's hope.
So
I'm
there's-
gonna
there's
I'm
hope.
gonna read up about all your tips, and then
Yeah.
it'll be good. In my 80s, I'll be funny.
Well, let's hope.
Let's hope. But ask me things. I monopolize the conversation.
No, not at all. In fact, you've just been wonderful, and we're out of time.
Yeah,
Um,
we're,
Yeah,
it's a short podcast. So
it's a short
Martha,
podcast.
thank you.
And
Oh, wow.
and even shorter when we have someone as entertaining as you. Uh,
Thank you.
so
I
glad
thought
we got a
had
chance.
It's half an hour only.
It is half an hour only.
Oh, well, that's great. I feel really honored that you invited me to do this.
You're perfect for us.
I love to be of ill repute with you.
Yes. Well, good. We're in
Women
great
of ill
company. Thank
That's
you.
how did you come up with that name?
Well, Wendy came up with it, and yeah, it was funny. So
Well,
yeah.
there's a lot of women who are invited to, and we maybe all have been invited to speak of women of influence. And I'm just like, no.
no.
The other side of the coin is we're all women of ill repute, or at least the interesting
Well,
ones are.
if you've found some success or some joy, let's not use success, doing something different or in a
Yes.
different manner, and certainly comedians fall into that, then we consider you a woman of ill repute, and we certainly consider you to be one.
Thank you. You women of ill repute. I like that. May I borrow it?
You may have it.
Yeah.
Well,
Just give us
we can
credit.
share it. Yeah, we can share it.
For a show in Spanish because in Guatemala the stand up is not very well understood as a format, so you have to name your show.
Right.
So I wanted to call it the rainbow ship of the family.
Okay.
Yeah, the rainbow ship of the family, but in English, la oveja rainbow de la familia. We
Got a
will
nice
see. I
ring
let
to
you
it.
know.
Okay.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you, Martha.
Thank
I
you.
can't believe that I confessed, Maureen, that I put preparation H under my eyes.
You've come a long way, Wendy Mesley.
Only
But
once.
you
and
said
didn't-
you said it didn't work though.
No, it didn't do.
Do you have
anything.
hemorrhoids under your eyes? No. So I would argue that it
Well,
worked.
Well, maybe it did. Maybe
I'm
it
going to
did.
try it. I'll try anything once anyway. So that was a little scattered but charming nonetheless.
Yeah.
Maybe all the more so. And she's been through shit. She's been through a lot of hell, and is living proof that what doesn't kill you makes you funny.
Yeah, I mean, I only know her as a funny person with an accent, and I've been hearing her forever.
Yeah.
and laughing at. So she's quick, and but I didn't know the whole story.
Yeah,
I didn't
the whole
know
story.
that they left. It was during the Somoza years, and they left Nicaragua, and there was a war going on there, and and her dad. Then her family became refugees in
Yeah.
Guatemala. And she was sent to
Sent
Concordia.
to Concordia to get straight.
Yeah. So I
Montreal's
didn't know all
Disneyland
that.
for lesbians anyway. But no, good stuff. Martha Chavez. I've been listening to her for years, and it was just really nice to meet her. So I'm going to go get some Prep H, put it under my eyes. Could be great.
Women of Ill Repute was written and produced by Maureen Holloway and Wendy Mesley, with the help from the team at the Sound Off Media Company and producer Yet Belgraver.